NASCAR Coast to Coast, presented by Hercules Tire. 60 minutes of octane-filled gear shifting, brake burning, fender smashing last lap passes for the win. Local, regional, and touring series interviews, news, and of course, opinion. Now, a couple of guys that think Speed Racer was a documentary. Kyle Rickey and Buddy Long.
Mother Nature wins at many East Coast short tracks, while Gilliland continues to build on his historic NASCAR start in the West. And the East Series back on track this weekend in South Carolina. Welcome to NASCAR Coast to Coast. Kyle Rickey, Buddy Long, talking NASCAR short track racing with you for the next 60 minutes here on the Motor Racing Network, presented by Hercules Tire. And Buddy, Mother Nature not kind to many East Coast tracks that were hoping to finally open their gates to start their 2016 NASCAR Wheeling All-American season.
Yeah, a few of them, they got bitten by the weather bug. I think Kingsport Speedway being one of them, so they're going to reschedule for this upcoming weekend. Hickory Motor Speedway, they've had a couple in the record books. Yeah. They got hit, and New Smyrna, another track that has had more than a share of racing already in 2016. Their opener got pushed back by a week as well, so those were just a few of the tracks. And, of course, the track that you guys were hoping to go to Saturday.
We're hoping. Concord Speedway, the NASCAR Wheeling Southern Modified Tour with some local divisions in action as well. They were rained out. They will run in 2 weeks, I believe, the first weekend of April. Yeah,
April 2nd, actually. I'm in town, and I'm trying to see if I can get over there.
I'll be in town.
We have an event at GoPro Motorplex, but I have a feeling I'm going to be stuck there quite late Saturday, so might have to just watch your social media exploits and see what's going on.
We'll be there. It'll be fun. And Ryan Preece tweeted as soon as they pulled the plug. Yeah, I think it was Friday night. It was an early call by the folks at NASCAR. Ryan Preece tweeted, "Hey, look, rained out. I can go now."
Which is what, Martinsville weekend, right?
It's Martinsville weekend, so the Xfinity Series is off. Yeah, so he'll be able to participate.
That's good. That's good. Glad to see that. I mean, they already had a pretty good contingent of drivers. We talked about that a couple of weekends ago. Teddy Christopher being one of them as a former champion or the last driver to win a race there. Rowan Pennick, another driver that was planning on coming down. So between that and the mix of Southern talent, should be a good show.
It looks like it'll be about 20 entries now if Ryan partakes, and if the guys from the north like Rowan and Teddy come
back.
Be a good show. So can't wait for that. The NASCAR K&N Pro Series West, they were in action this past weekend, and surprise, surprise, Todd Gilliland now 3 for 3 in K&N starts. Of course, that includes the East race earlier this year at New Smyrna Speedway, and the West Series finale last year at Phoenix International Raceway. So pretty impressive, picking up a pretty big win at Irwindale Speedway this past weekend.
That's going to be tough all season long because this looks like a kid that will adjust to whatever racetrack. He's obviously with a very good team with Bill McAnally Racing, has some good people that he's working around in the garage area and back at the race shop, but he just adjusts so well. You can have the best equipment, but it still takes a very good driver to do what he's been able to do. And, of course, he had tied Joey Logano's record of winning on both series back-to-back, and now he owns the record of now 3. So just very impressive statistics for a driver that's been the point leader on one series in the East, briefly as it was.
It was brief.
Because he didn't go to Mobile, but now leads the West, and it's going to be a tough candidate this year.
You saw the finishing order just a moment ago. Ryan Partridge finishing in the second spot, last year's champion Chris Eggleston third, Noah Gragson fourth, Johnny Borneman getting a top 5, a very impressive 24-car field. Their next race in a couple of weeks at Kern County Raceway Park in Bakersfield, California.
And they'll have a new winner because last year, this was the season opener, but Dalton Sargent was the driver that came out of the blocks very quickly, scored the first 2 K&N Pro Series West wins, so we'll see another new face in Victory Lane at Kern County next weekend. Could be Todd Gilliland. I say a new face. He'll be new to Kern County, but it will be a new winner.
That race, as you mentioned, next Saturday, April 2nd for the NASCAR K&N Pro Series West Division. Busy show today, as always. Always fun to talk about a new racetrack, to whether it be for the NASCAR Wheeling All-American Series or just a new racetrack in general, and we're going to get to do that today. Dominion Raceway, the replacement of Old Dominion Raceway, which was closed in 2012 because of some noise complaints from some neighbors. New racetrack opening up, and General Manager Edwin Pardue will join us here in a little bit.
Yeah, it's really good. I mean, they're going to go from one extreme to the other because where Old Dominion Speedway was on Route 234, Northern Virginia, very busy, very populated area, and you could see little by little by little over the years, the housing was growing up around them, and you knew it was only a matter of time before this racetrack was going to be gone. You can grandfather something in as much as you want, but somebody finally is going to hit a city council member and say, hey, look, we got to get rid of this track. Where they are now is right on an exit, just right on I-95. So if you're driving up I-95 right now, since there's no leaves on the trees just yet, you can clearly see the racetrack. And at nighttime, even when the summertime hits and the leaves are on the trees, the lights are on, you'll be able to see it. It's right there, very convenient. A lot of hotels are there. I think there's a hotel that will be built on the track property also, but a lot of things, a lot of great things happening for Dominion. And it's really impressive to see this because this day and age, you don't see new short tracks being built. And,
no, it's rare.
Yeah, Steve Britt made his mind up several years ago after Old Dominion's demise that it was going to happen. And it's taken some time, so you kind of thought, well, it's got to go through so much legal red tape with the county and the state and wherever they're going to be, the municipality that they're going to be in. So you kind of figured it was going to fall by the wayside, but lo and behold, there they are.
And a busy season.
Yeah.
I think over 20 events, including a NASCAR K&N Pro Series East race, which is cool for a short track that really hasn't opened up yet to have that series already on the schedule.
Yeah, it was so funny because January I was up in that area and I wanted to stop by. I was going to be in Fredericksburg, Virginia to attend a banquet, and the track is only like 2 exits away. So, ironically, stopping by just to check it out, there's Kevin Nevalainen, the leader of the NASCAR Weekly Racing Series. Obviously, he does a lot of track visits, and he was there. And at that time, I don't think Edwin could tell me that they were going to be a part of the K&N Pro Series East or whether they were going to be a member of the Wheeling All-American Series. But obviously, having Kevin there,
that was pretty good.
Pretty good indication that something good was coming. So that's great.
We'll talk to Edwin coming up in a little bit about how things looking at the racetrack and just the processes in getting to be in the NASCAR family, hosting a K&N Pro Series race, and just an outlook at their season. I guess they were supposed to have a practice this past weekend, but like so many other racetracks affected by Mother Nature, they were also affected by Mother Nature. So they'll open up shop this weekend with practice and their first race event in 2 weekends from now. Spencer Davis will also join us on the show today, the NASCAR K&N Pro Series East championship leader after 2 races heading to Greenville Pickens this weekend.
Yeah, very good young talent over the course of history. We have watched him have part-time runs in K&N East competition and the NASCAR Wheeling Modified Tour and the Southern Modified Tour. Good to see if he's going to be able to put this whole season together. I know when we talked to him at New Smyrna, maybe it was still up in the air as to whether they were going to be able to run the full season with he and teammate Kyle Benjamin, but I would like to think, even after the troubles they encountered at New Smyrna late with a wrecked car, that they were able to overcome that, continue to have the success, and say, okay, things are looking good. We're going to be able to piece everything together, but we're going to make a run for this title.
They're the championship leader team coming into the 3rd race of the season this weekend at Greenville Pickens Speedway in South Carolina. Also joining us, Scott Gafforini, Las Vegas Bullring will open up this weekend, and he is a 6-time champion there, and he was going to join us to talk about his championship from last year and preview what they have coming up this year at the Bullring in Vegas, a track that's still on my bucket list.
Yeah, I mean, we've been there for the truck races,
100 times,
but, it's like, 1 or 2 weeks prior to us getting there for the truck series, that's when their seasons ended.
Yeah.
And we've never been able to be there. Didn't he finally get a new car? Did he tell us late last year that he did?
Yeah.
Okay. So he's got an updated car. It's a little bit better than what he had, but, I mean, it's newer. But, I mean, how many championships did he win with that car that was almost decades old?
Well, maybe 6, maybe 5,
yeah,
at least 5.
Yeah, I mean, he's done an incredible job with that machine.
61 wins in his career at the Las Vegas Bullring in the short track. At least 61 recorded wins.
Right.
The history books go back to 2000, so he might even have more than that. So he's going to join us to talk about racing at the Bullring. They open up shop this week at the Las Vegas short track. And again, it's 2 weeks either way. I was there 2 weeks ago for the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series race, and the short track's just sitting there idle. Yeah. And at the Truck Series event at the end of the year when we go in the fall, we miss it by just 2 weeks. They lock the gates 2 weeks before we get there.
I mean, can we talk to Hannah Rickards or somebody out there and have them run a special race just for us?
I talked to Hannah the other day when I was out there. I'm like, a great opening night would be do the Xfinity race that afternoon. I mean, we're done by 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Right.
take it over to the short track.
That would
Have
be pretty
opening
cool.
night.
I mean, you do it with Auto Club and Irwindale right down the road. I mean, Bullring's a little bit closer, but that would be cool.
She listens. She's worried about personnel, though. We got the big track, you got the little track. There's a lot going on. They don't know if they can handle it, but it would be awesome, and the idea is out there. We're going to go to break. When we come back, we're going to talk about another brand-new short track on the NASCAR Whelen All-American calendar. Dominion Raceway General Manager Edwin Pardue joins us in a moment.
NASCAR Coast to Coast will be right back on MRN.com.
Restore your vehicle's lost power by cleaning your entire fuel system with Chevron Techron Fuel System Cleaner. Right now, buy one bottle, get one free at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Keep your engine clean and improve performance with Chevron Techron Fuel System Cleaner. Buy one, get one free at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. Limit supply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Ready to take the training wheels off your race scanner? Go to fanvision.com and upgrade your experience with FanVision. Not only will you be able to hear the race,
Dale Earnhardt Jr. gets a good run, drafting help from Kyle Busch and Kevin Harvick. Jr. again pulls up alongside for the race lead.
you'll see every moment through live video, instant replays, live stats, and more.
Hi, I'm Jamie McMurray, driver of the #1 Cessna Chevrolet, and I never go to the track without my FanVision. So go to fanvision.com to rent or buy yours today.
Looking for a great spot for an affordable beach vacation or the perfect romantic retreat? Let the Plaza Resort and Spa help. A vacation on the world's most famous beach is sure to help you reconnect with the ones you love. Discover the grand tradition of hospitality and service on Daytona Beach. The Plaza Resort and Spa is the perfect choice for any type of getaway. Book online at plazaresortandspa.com or call 1-855-DB-PLAZA. That's 1-855-327-5292.
This is NASCAR Whelen Southern Modified driver Jason Myers, and you're listening to NASCAR Coast to Coast on MRN.com. Now back to Kyle and Buddy.
All right, thank you very much, Jason. Welcome back to NASCAR Coast to Coast here on the Motor Racing Network and MRN.com. Presented by Hercules Tire. Kyle Rickey, Buddy Long, joined now by General Manager of Dominion Raceway in Thorburg, Virginia. Brand new to the NASCAR calendar for 2016, and what has been a long time coming, as we talked about a little bit earlier, several years of building and constructing the facility. Edwin Pardue joins us on the guest line. Edwin, welcome to NASCAR Coast to Coast. Got to be, I'm sure you were excited last weekend.
Glad to be on with you today.
Well, thanks for joining us. You had to be excited last weekend until Mother Nature intervened. I know you guys were supposed to have a practice session. How's the facility looking as you guys get set for a second scheduled practice this weekend before the start of your season?
We got lucky. We had practice scheduled for Saturday and Sunday. We got a really good practice in on Saturday. And as you mentioned, Mother Nature had other plans for Sunday. The racetrack itself, just the reviews are great. It's fast. It's wide. The transition from the straightaway into the banking is smooth. Guys and gals get out of their race cars, and they're giving us a thumbs up every time. So we think, especially as we get, a couple grooves worked in, we've got a 2 or 3 groove racetrack that should make for some great racing.
And it's had to have been a challenging process, basically from, the time I saw you back in mid-January till the present, because there was a lot of work that had to be done. The grandstands had yet to be put in. There was a magnificent tower that's being constructed that was well under construction, but a lot of work to do. And in between that, I could look back and say you had 2 major snowstorms and quite a bit of weather. You guys were headed pretty much into the dead of winter from the time I saw you into the season opener. So a lot of great challenges there.
Yeah, we had crews in as soon as snow would come down, crews in, clearing the entryway to get our construction workers in. The building, luckily, was already under roof, and the walls were up so our subs could get inside. I mean, that main building is 36,600 square feet. It holds not only race control for the oval track, but race control for our 2-mile road course, and it'll also have race control for our 8th-mile drag strip, and that drag strip will come online in the late fall of this year.
I wanted to hit on that. This facility, much more than just the oval that we'll be talking about as far as the NASCAR Whelen All-American Series is concerned and the NASCAR K&N Pro Series East. But what are some of the challenges of around the oval, because you mentioned a 2-mile road course, an eighth of a mile drag strip. This is a true brand new motorsports complex.
It really is. And looking at the business model, had we built just an oval, just a drag strip, just one piece, there's really not a business model that makes that work financially. And with our location, and Buddy, you can attest to this, when I say we're on I-95, we are directly on I-95. So being right there, directly in between Washington, D.C. and Richmond, Virginia, we needed to offer a variety. So even outside of the motorsports, we've got a 20 by 40-foot giant screen in the infield of the oval track. We're also going to repurpose that on nights during the summer for drive-in movies. We've got open banquet facilities where we can host things that have nothing to do with motorsports, but other shows, trade shows, corporate outings, that type of thing. We've also built a karting course on the infield of our oval, bringing in 24 race carts, so we can do kart racing like a league night, but also corporate events there. So it is a wide array, and weekends will be crazy because we can actually operate the oval and the road course at the same time. So very easily, you could be sitting there in the grandstands and you're watching the NASCAR Whelen All-American Series practice for that evening, and all of a sudden, 4 or 5 Ferraris go flying at the back straightaway of the road course.
Yours, Steve Britt's. Who else? Who's got the other Ferraris there?
Absolutely. So Steve Britt and Jerry Evans are the owners, and then they brought me in as general manager to run the operation for them.
Okay, so those are 3 of the Ferraris we know we're going to see out on the road course because they're taking good care of you. Hey,
absolutely. We might have one, but none of us will have time to drive them. That's for sure.
I'll polish it. That's about as close I'll get to actually touching the car. But hey, Kyle and I were talking about the transition from the days of the Old Dominion Speedway in Manassas, from the time it closed to the time we're getting to right now, just a couple of weeks away to the season opener. You obviously were a huge part of Old Dominion Speedway for many years, serving as the track's announcer and just being a huge part of the family that was there, not only the staff, but all the racers. And it's very typical when a track shuts down, you lose a lot of racers. What's been the response of the drivers, a lot of them that you guys had in the Old Dominion days, to the new Dominion Raceway? Are you going to be able to get a lot of the people that you had in the past that are going to basically revive their careers, or have they found maybe an alternative to bridge the gap between Old Dominion and Dominion Raceway now as this new one comes online?
It's a great question, and what the answer for that is the same as our staff and everything. I tell everybody that while there is some DNA from Old Dominion Speedway here at the new Dominion Raceway, there's also a whole lot of new faces. Steve Britt has been involved, had purchased Old Dominion, ran it its last 10 years. As one owner, he brings some of that DNA, pulls it forward to the new track. Jerry Evans, very successful business person in the Fredericksburg region, some automotive business experience, but not the racing side of it. He brings something fresh to it. When you see employees, when you come onto the track site, there'll be some familiar faces that you've seen, and there's a whole lot of new faces as well. That'll be the same with our racers. I've talked with a lot of the racers who ran at their track in Manassas. We'll see them back. I've talked to a lot of new folks who've gotten into the sport since then, and they'll be coming. So it will be what you see in the grandstand, what you see on the racetrack, and what you see in employees will all be the same. Some familiar faces and a lot of new people who are coming into the sport.
And that gives a lot of comfort to drivers, coming in from the old track to the new track, seeing those familiar faces, going to be being right back at home. So
good old days.
Yeah,
good old days.
And they also want to see the new also. They want to see there's a level of familiarity, but they also want to see the new where, this project just puts local short track racing at an entirely different level. I mean, we're hiring a whole group of ushers, just called our DR Red Shirt team, and they're nothing but guest services. And on race night, they're milling around through the building, through the grandstands. They're there to enhance that experience for the fans. We want to do the same thing in the pit area. We want our drivers to have a very different experience. They're a very nice concession building in the infield, very nice restroom facilities in the infield. There's a small green room with a shower that the drivers can have access to. There's a huge stage that we pull the car down into Victory Lane in front of it. Everybody comes up on the stage for Victory Lane. So we want to have those amenities as well. And then the third piece will be our business and marketing partners. the big screen where we'll be producing our own commercials on there as well. So everything's up to a different level.
A very healthy schedule for the racetrack in its first year. 21, I believe I counted, race events on the oval, beginning with a 100-lap late model event on April 9th. Got to be excited about the schedule. That also includes the first visit for the NASCAR K&N Pro Series on May 30th.
Yeah, let me hit a couple of the high points because we're really excited. Of course, you always get excited about opening day, and so that's one we're all looking at. That K&N event becomes a 2-day event. We're going to have on Sunday of Memorial Day weekend, we've got practice and qualifying. Our late models and K&N cars will be there, and that is a free grandstand day. Fans can come. Our restaurant, I haven't told you about the restaurant yet, the 118 Bar and Grill's our full-service restaurant that overlooks the racetrack. Fans can come into the restaurant on that day, watch all the activity on the racetrack, free grandstand admission, and then we come back on Monday, Memorial Day, a daytime race for the K&N cars, and we think that'll be unique. And I think it's their only daytime oval race. I know they've got a daytime road racing, but that'll be a whole different experience, and we're really excited about that. We've got some other big events throughout the year. We're going to run a Thursday night late model race the weekend of the fall Richmond race. We've got a cross-promotional program. We're working with RIR to promote that event and theirs event back and forth. And then we come back with the big one as our final event of the year. So I like the fact that each one of the races kind of stands on their own. There's not one thing I was very sure about I did not want to do is anywhere on my schedule where it says regular show. Every show needs to be a special event, whether it's what we've done with the race itself, what we've done with our marketing and advertising partners, and each one of these nights kind of stands out as its own standalone event.
That's what I love, right there. And
have its own personality.
There's a short track in, I guess it's New York. I was say New England, but I grew up at, and every event was different. Mm-hmm. Every event had a different partner with it that, they were giving stuff out, and there was a special event on the racetrack. There was a special event behind the grandstands, and there was something different every night. I love that.
And the thing is, people have had the chance to see the schedule. If they're logging in and they can see us, they've been able to see the schedule, which shows the divisions of racing that are running, and Robbie Mays, our graphic artist, has done a tremendous job with that. What that schedule that you have in front of you also does show, that Robbie couldn't fit on there because there's so much, is the sponsorship. There's a lot of corporate sponsorship that you have in there, which is tremendous. And it leads me to another item, because I know your hair was on fire. You were going Mach 7 with your hair on fire when you and I were talking back, oh gosh, what was it, the beginning of the year? And you kind of got a curveball. We both got a curveball thrown at us when we learned of VIR, Virginia International Raceway, shutting down for the month of July for a repaving project. So you not only had brand new customers that wanted to come to this new facility, but then you had a lot of customers from VIR that had something scheduled in July that also wanted to be in there as well. And I've got to give you all the credit in the world. I mean, you worked your absolute butt off to take care of the folks at the WKA, but I'm sure we're just one customer that you worked so very hard to accommodate for this 2016 schedule.
Absolutely, and we were happy to do it, and that was done, by my counterparts at VIR, my counterparts up at Summit Point, which is another road course in West Virginia. I think there's a mutual respect there between those tracks, and we know that the more that we can kind of promote that type of racing throughout the region, the more race cars, the more people get involved. So to me, I didn't look at it as a chance to, oh man, I get to steal some dates away. I looked at it as a, hey, you know what, I got a chance to help the folks at VIR this season, and you know what, that'll pay us dividends down the road. And that is the same view that we have with the other short tracks in the region. I've told some of the other short track operators, I said, hey, if you hear something out of my camp that you don't like or rubs you the wrong way, call me, because that's not how we want to do business. So
you mentioned you had a great practice this past weekend, another one coming up this weekend, opening night, April 9th, a 100-lap late model event with 4 other divisions on tap as well. How are the entries looking? Now we're, 2.5 weeks away from opening night?
It's insane. I mean, in the weekly short track world, you really don't know for 100% until they roll into the track on Saturday night. But our practices have been very full. We did a registration where folks could register their number. I believe in almost every class. I don't have any numbers available. Now, obviously, some of those are people holding a spot or something like that, which we understand. But we think it'll be really, really dramatic. And the other thing I want to touch on that we're doing as many practices as we can get in with what we're doing with our tires for all of our series, but particularly with the late models. And we're very excited working with Specialty Tire America and reintroducing the McCrary race tire back to short track racing. So our late models will run exclusively on it's a brand new, completely redesigned, tested at our racetrack, McCrary race tire for our late models, and we could not be happier with that. The testing and the feedback we've gotten has been unbelievable, and then our other divisions will all run on American Racer tires. So that's another reason we're trying to get as much practice out there so everybody can get used to the new stuff.
Saw that announcement on their Facebook page. They do a great job on social media as well, getting the word out there about this new great racetrack. Edwin, thank you for joining us here this afternoon. Can't wait to get up there. Buddy and I were just talking.
Buddy, I believe I'll see you up there April 9th. Is that correct?
I will be in town for that weekend. And when you were talking about the Memorial Day weekend festivities, Kyle looked at me and says, we got to get up there. He was whispering it, but I could hear him. It's like, we'll be up there. I'll be there. I'll be home Memorial Day weekend. So, yeah, we're going to have to make a point to be up there again.
Gonna be fun.
The door's always open and happy to chat with you anytime to get you updates.
We appreciate you joining us here at NASCAR Coast to Coast. Best of luck on opening weekend here coming up in just 2 weeks from now.
Thank you very much, guys.
Edwin Pardue joining us here on NASCAR Coast to Coast, general manager of the new Dominion Raceway, a restaurant overlooking the racetrack. I don't know if I've
be impressed.
Been to a short track that has had one of those.
Yeah. When I looked at the tower that was under construction, I mean, it was under roof, and you could see the I can't even say it. The walls that were being put up. I mean, the metal walls. I want to say the studs. That's what I was trying to get out. You could kind of envision, like, this is going to be a monster. And once it's done, it's going to be magnificent. It's going to be a great deal.
Can't wait to get up there again. Opening night coming up April 9th for Dominion Raceway. When we come back, we're going to talk about the NASCAR K&N Pro Series East and championship leader Spencer Davis, who joins us in a moment.
Coming back with more of NASCAR Coast to Coast, it's Kyle Rickey and Buddy Long right after this.
Whatever you drive, wherever you go, Hercules Tires will get you there, whether you're running on dirt or running a job. Our dependable, high-quality tires are the perfect fit for your needs. For unmatched value, selection, and warranty with industry-leading road hazard protection, there's only one choice: Hercules Tires. To learn more, visit HerculesTire.com or call 800-677-9535. Hercules Tires, right on our strength.
Hey, it's me, Kansas Speedway, and I'm sorry. Sorry for the barehanded slap of adrenaline and the burnt rubber aftertaste. Sorry other tailgates will seem lame. Yeah, real sorry about that.
It's the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series GoBowling.com 400. Saturday night, May 7th, Mother's Day weekend.
Yeah. Sorry, Mom.
Tickets at KansasSpeedway.com.
You're welcome.
Ready to take the training wheels off your race scanner? Go to FanVision.com and upgrade your experience with FanVision. Not only will you be able to hear the race,
Dale Earnhardt Jr. gets a good run, drafting help from Kyle Busch and Kevin Harvick. Jr. again pulls up alongside for the race lead.
You'll see every moment through live video, instant replays, live stats, and more.
Hi, I'm Jamie McMurray, driver of the #1 Cessna Chevrolet, and I never go to the track without my FanVision. So go to FanVision.com to rent or buy yours today.
This is NASCAR K&N Pro Series East driver Jay Beasley, and you're listening to NASCAR Coast to Coast on MRN.com. Now back to you, Kyle and Buddy.
Get ultra performance with STP Ultra 5-in-1 Fuel System Cleaner. STP, in for the long haul. Welcome back to NASCAR Coast to Coast here on the Motor Racing Network and the MRN app. Kyle Rickey, Buddy Long with you now, joined by the current NASCAR K&N Pro Series East championship leader after 2 races. Spencer Davis joins us on the guest line. Spencer, welcome to the show. Got to be pleased with the start of your 2016 season after 2 events, leading the points going to Greenville Pickens this weekend.
Yes, sir. First off, thanks for having me on, and real excited to be leading the points in the NASCAR K&N Series.
I know that when we talked to you in New Smyrna early in the year, there was a question as to whether you guys would be able to run the entire season. And when I say you guys, I'm also referring to your teammate Kyle Benjamin. This is a very potent two-car operation in which you guys are two of you in the top three in the NASCAR K&N Pro Series East points. Are you guys now set to run the full season with the successes that you've had in the early part of the year?
I know for sure I am. We put the deal together after New Smyrna to try to run the whole year. I think Kyle is still running a part-time schedule, and they're sticking to their original plan.
It would be hard, I'm assuming, to be the championship point leader and not show up at an event. And I know, there's a lot of budgetary, factors that come into the equation, but, it would be tough, I'm sure, for you as the driver to be the point leader and not be scheduled to show up at the next race.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. It'd be real hard. Definitely knowing how strong our cars are and how strong the whole team is, and definitely missing a race would be hard. And we're working real hard to make sure we get to every race.
Two of them under your belt this weekend, when some tracks and the bulk of the tracks in the country have yet to get underway, and a lot of series still have yet to get underway. You guys are already going to your third event of the 2016 season. Some of the drivers, one of those was it Noah Gregson last weekend? Cutting school, was he?
Oh,
yeah,
he was. Yeah, he was
down there testing at Greenville Pickens Speedway. Believe you've got some laps down there as well, don't you?
Yes, sir. We actually went and tested last week.
All right.
How'd that test go?
Test went real well. We had and learned a lot. It was my first time ever at Greenville, was there at the test. So, I'm feeling real confident after that test, knowing that I can hopefully tackle that track as good as I have the first two.
5 degrees of banking, so obviously when you're going through a corner, you're almost, it appears from the naked eye, you're at a dead stop. It almost looks like, and I told Kyle this a couple of weeks ago, my first visit to Greenville Pickens last year, and they were practicing, referring to the K&N Pro Series East cars. When they came through a corner, I thought you were under caution because they were just going so slow. But it is also a very abrasive racetrack. And last year we saw another one of the many rookies in William Byron able to manage his tires, get through, and take that victory. How much of a challenge has it been for you to learn tire management? Because a lot of these short tracks you're going to are very abrasive.
Tire management really isn't my specialty. It wasn't in late models, but we went to Mobile. Mobile's a pretty well abrasive track from what we saw, leading up to the race, and I feel like we managed tires real well there, just found up a little bit short. But tire management definitely at Greenville. When you think of tire management, I think everyone thinks of Greenville that's from the south and maybe even the northerners. It's probably the most abrasive track I'll ever go to myself as far as short track goes. So it's gonna be real. We have I have plenty of good people with us that are going to the track that have been to Greenville a lot, and that could definitely help me out with anything I'm missing.
In the test last week when you were down there, how much of that test was testing tire management, seeing how long you can go on a set of tires and watching the times drop off over the course of a run?
Most definitely the whole time we were there. Right after you make a mock qualifying run, you're straight into tire conservation. You want to know how well you can make your car handle for, the duration of the longest run, which was 75 laps plus on our tires, just trying to get the car to handle the best it could handle given the situation. The race itself is going to be at night. Obviously we were testing in the day, so that's going to be a little bit different, but I believe if you can get your car good at any point in the day, you'll be fine.
And you're at the time of the year where the temperature hasn't been overly warm. I don't think it was last week when you guys were down there as well. It was pretty decent weather. So that should give you a pretty good indication. Plus, this is great because this is one of the few tracks, if only, the only track that you guys will be going back to for a repeat performance, being Greenville Pickens Speedway this year. Talking to Edwin Pardue, the general manager earlier, the Dominion Raceway. They will be another new track on the schedule for the K&N Pro Series East, Virginia International Raceway the weekend before that. We've talked about your short track prowess. Tell us a little bit about your thoughts on road courses, and you have quite a few of them on your schedule this year.
Up until when we go to VIR, I'll never have raced a road course race, so that's definitely going to be different. I'm trying to do lots of course testing, whether it be on carts or even in iRacing to something to get me acclimated with how road course racing is. And I got to say, it's definitely a different ball game than oval racing. Just the technique of road course racing is real different. But just being, it's still a race car. So I believe at the end of the day, as long as I do my part and get a good race car up under me, the guys give me a good one, which I know they probably will. We'll be fine. It's just, it's another new obstacle I have to learn.
How did you land in the NASCAR K&N Pro Series East? Buddy and I mentioned your modified career. You ran part-time in the North and South over the last 2 years. You've run some of the biggest super late model races in the country, 7th in last year's All-American 400, a top 10 finish a couple of years ago in the Oxford 250 up in Maine. Why the direction of the K&N Pro Series East versus that potential full-time modified ride?
We ran for my first year running modified, and we accomplished our goal to finish inside the top 10 in points and win the Rookie of the Year. And our original plans were to actually go chase the Northern title the next year, but we had a change of plans, and we ran 5 K&N races. So that kind of took up most of my time between testing that and just being in the shop with the guys, trying to learn the most I can learn about these cars. So, it's always been a dream of mine just to run anything NASCAR. I think that's what every racer's dream is. And just to be approached by Rainier Race to go run the full season with them, it was real cool. But we had to, we at least had to make it through Smyrna. And when it actually arose 100% to run the full year, there was no doubt that we had to run it. It's a short dream of mine to, start ranking up in the bigger ranks in that. And, you got to take that first step to get to the next one.
And there's no doubt you made the most of your opportunities because you've been one of the drivers that has been running on a part-time basis, as Kyle alluded to in the modifieds, some part-time K&N gigs with NTS Motorsports over the years. And you sat there and you thought, gosh, if this kid just got one full year under his belt, look out. Well, look out. 2 races in, and you got yourself a points lead, slim as it is, but already got some good notes going to Greenville Pickens. I know you had to be the most excited person of all when you knew that you finally were able to put together a full-time deal on this series, knowing that you have the ability and the tools, everything around you to run for that championship.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I was real excited when I knew we were going to run the full year, and to be able to do it, Rainier Racing is the new team. All the history from everyone that's in the shop, working on the cars down. You have Mark McFarland, Marty Lindley, my crew chief, Doug Howe. Just everyone in there is real good, and they've had a bunch of good history. And, I had no doubt in my mind that we go and be able to run for a championship. And, it's showing early. We had the points lead. It might be only by 1 point, but, we're real strong, the whole team as a whole. Even my teammate Kyle Benjamin, we were 1, 2, or at least both in the top 5 in practice so far this year. We've both shown that that Rainier Racing is definitely a force to be reckoned with.
2 second-place finishes in the first 2 races. Buddy mentioned, and we mentioned a moment ago about your other short track activity the last couple of years. You've run in a lot of the big races. Will you continue to do that this year? Should we expect to see you in some of the big super late model events throughout the country when the K&N series is off?
We've been trying to put together our late model schedule just around testing in the K&N car and races for the K&N car. And you'll most definitely see in the big late model races. We're going to hit up places like Nashville and just some of the local tracks, up until the big races. But, when the All-American 400s, Oxford 250s, Small Ball Derby comes, we'll definitely see the red 29 there, intended for a win.
Well, 22 in the field this weekend. 12 of those are rookies, so that's kind of keeping the theme each and every year that we go back to another racetrack. But, you also have kept up very busy in karting as well. You came from the karting industry, and every once in a while when you find the opportunity, if it's a big money race somewhere in the South, we'll see that name pop up there as well.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I still try to go-kart racing. It's where I started from, and I really like doing it, really like being around all the people. And, every year WK hosts the Dirt to Daytona deal down there at the flat track, and we're definitely trying to go there. And, those money races, I still feel like I can get it done. I was very successful in go-karts, and, it's nice to be able to get a phone call from someone asking to go ride their go-kart still.
Karting, super late models, K&N, not a bad schedule. Spencer, thanks for joining us. We look forward to seeing you in just a couple of days at the Greenville-Pickens Speedway in South Carolina.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me on. I'll see you guys there.
We'll be there. NASCAR K&N Pro Series East Championship point leader by 1 point, over Tyler Dipple, last week's winner. But consistency is key, and he has been very consistent in the first 2 races and 2 second-place finishes.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's going to be a good battle down to the wire. We mentioned Tyler Dipple last week when we had him on the show. He obviously inherits the ride that William Byron had, or being a part of that team, and, of course, they got very good notes going to Greenville-Pickens, so that tire test was critical for a lot of people last week.
I'm going to see how that tire test pays off this Saturday. Right now, let's go off the wall and take a moment, get to know 2015 NASCAR Mexico champion, current NASCAR Next driver, and Rev Racing driver in the K&N Pro Series East, Ruben Garcia Jr.
What's your favorite place on planet Earth?
I think London. I went there after testing in France and for the first time 2 years ago, and I really enjoyed that place. You feel like you're in a different place.
What is one goal that you would like to accomplish?
To be a Sprint Cup champion. That's my biggest dream in life. First, it was to be a NASCAR champion. Now that I am one, I want to be the biggest NASCAR champion.
If you could eliminate one thing from your daily schedule, what would it be?
Wake up early. Yeah, I hate waking up early. I mean, I can be up really late with any problem, but waking up early, it kills me all day long.
If you could trade places with one person for a day, who would it be?
I was thinking about Tom Brady because of her wife, but maybe it would be interesting to change place with Jimmy Johnson for a Sunday, race week Sunday.
Would you rather be the most popular person or the smartest person that you know?
Well, the smart, it's because it gives you more things in life to be smart than to be popular.
Would you rather see the future or change the past?
See the future, to plan all the things that I would like to do, and to if you can see the future, you can predict where you are going, and if you don't like it, you can do something to change it.
If you could change your name, what would it be?
A tough one. I've never thought of that. I would change it to, I don't know. One day I was thinking if I have a child, I mean a boy, I would name it Juan Pablo. And so I think I would change it for Juan Pablo.
NASCAR Coast to Coast will be right back on MRN.com.
Be the winner of your next family dinner. Choose Creekstone Farms Premium Black Angus Beef, proud sponsor of MRN. Act fast, because while supplies last, you can get 2 delicious beef brisket flats for just $79.99. That's a savings of almost $30. Plus, receive free shipping with your online order of $100 or more. No coupon code required. Get first place taste with our superior quality beef and pork products, all raised and grazed in the USA. Visit us today at creekstonefarms.com.
Business is a lot like racing. It takes a strong team of pros to succeed. That's why Freightliner Trucks created TeamRunSmart.com, a free online community that connects owner-operators with the trucking industry's A-team. The Team Run Smart pros and coaches help maximize your profitability with real-world advice on everything from fuel-efficient specking to healthy eating to filing taxes. Sign up today to earn rewards and connect with fellow truckers at TeamRunSmart.com.
Whatever you drive, wherever you go, Hercules Tires will get you there, whether you're running on dirt or running a job. Our dependable, high-quality tires are the perfect fit for your needs. For unmatched value, selection, and warranty with industry-leading road hazard protection, there's only one choice: Hercules Tires. To learn more, visit HerculesTire.com or call 800-677-9535. Hercules Tires, right on our strength.
This is NASCAR K&N Pro Series East driver Jesse Little, and you're listening to NASCAR Coast to Coast on MRN.com. Now back to Kyle and Buddy.
Welcome back to NASCAR Coast to Coast here on the Motor Racing Network, presented by Hercules Tire. Kyle, Ricky, Buddy along with you. One of our favorite stops of the season for the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series anyway is going out to Las Vegas and the Las Vegas Motor Speedway at the big track. And it's always a fun city. I've tried to talk to the folks from NASCAR. We need to run a truck race on the short track. Maybe on the same weekend.
All
I don't
30
know.
of them?
All 30 of them.
Yeah, wow.
It'd be fun.
Yeah, it would be.
A driver that will be on the short track this week. The Las Vegas Bullring joins us, the track series defending champion, the winningest driver in track history. Scott Gaffin joins us on the guest line. Scott, what would you think of a truck race at the Las Vegas Bullring? I think it would be fantastic.
Yeah, I wanted to watch that one. I don't think I want to participate in that one. It's such a small track.
Ready for? You must be ready for the start of your season here this coming weekend at the Bullring. The start of, I guess, the first half of your season, because you take a break in July and August during the heat of the summer, and then come back at the end of the summer to wrap it up. Got to be chomping at the bit to get back at it.
Yeah, I mean, we're just like everybody, we're just rebuilding everything just like everybody else does in this industry here. And, waiting for that first race is just, all of a sudden you're waiting and waiting, and it's around the corner. You're like, oh, my God, we got to get everything done. So,
and obviously you've been used to it because you've been so successful at winning titles at the Bullring. But even after all these years, is it still somewhat frustrating because you have the off season of winter like everybody else does? You crank up for a couple of months, you're down for a couple of months, you crank back up. Have you gotten used to that? I mean, I'm assuming you have, but would you still like to somehow, some way, even if it's not Vegas or somewhere, still be able to continue racing in those months, or are you a big fan of that?
The wives are a big fan of it. I mean, because they got everything all planned out for summer break for the children. So it actually works out pretty good to where you can balance the family life and the racing together. And that, it's because all in all, it works hand in hand. You got to have both.
Las Vegas Bullring. It is, like you mentioned, a short track, a tough track to navigate, especially in traffic. Buddy mentioned you take off a good chunk of July and August because of the heat, but I have to think in June and even at the end of August when you crank back up, there's still a lot of hot nights, triple-digit temperatures. How difficult is that out there in the desert?
Oh, it's very hard. I mean, yeah, you're racing at 10 o'clock at night. It's still 105 degrees out, and and the track temperatures are even more than that because it's a circle. The Bullring is in a bowl. So you got to worry about vapor locking. You got to make sure your fuel system's right and everything. And everything on the David Wilson Toyota of Las Vegas's Camry, we got everything balanced out pretty good to where it runs pretty cool. And that's the secret. We get the out of town guys come in here and they catch a caution flag and you see the little geyser coming off of the windshield because they're overheating.
Wow. And that's interesting that you bring that up because when you think about the heat, you think about being in the desert, you automatically think tire management, which I'm sure is another key element being out there. But when you bring up some of the other items that you really need to be on top of, it's not just about tire management. It's so many other things that you got to stay on top of, obviously.
Right, yeah. I mean, you got to worry about the heat, the electrical system. You got to make sure everything's insulated because we've seen people catch on fire going down the straightaway because their wiring burned up from just the heat. And not that it was routed next to the exhaust system, it's just the undercar temperatures. We took, a burn-off paint, and we put it inside the cockpit one year, and it burned off like at 180 degrees inside the cockpit.
Lord.
How's the field shaping up for this year? Obviously, you're looking for championship number 7. How difficult is this title going to be? It seems like it gets tougher each and every season out there at the Bullring.
This one is actually going to be probably a pretty good season. There's a lot of new competition coming out. We got some of the younger guys coming up. We just found out we got a couple of new guys buying some cars that are from different divisions that are moving up and or crossing over. So we should have a pretty good solid field of at least 15-plus cars this year.
And we've seen the progression positively for the NASCAR K&N Pro Series West. A couple of years ago, it was doing decent. All of a sudden, there was this major youth movement of so many different drivers that came up through there. And I'm sure some of them have come from the Bullring. They've come from different parts of California, Idaho, Colorado, everywhere. When you look at not only your division of racing, but going down to the lower divisions, is everything still looking solid up until last season? Is it pretty solid all the way across?
Well, the economy took a hit, and we all know that. And, and your local racing is going to take the biggest hit out of all of it. But, yeah, I mean, the car counts have definitely been coming up. The quality of the cars that we're racing against is about the same because the top dogs are always going to find a way to the racetrack. And that's, so your competition is always there. It's just the field – when it goes down to the stats, okay, you raced 8 cars for that night, but it was still the best 8 cars that you had out there, So the stats kind of like get washed a little bit because of that. But yeah, I mean the economy just Vegas got hit hard, and we got hit very hard. So we're just happy just to be able to make it to the racetrack and do as good as we do.
Talk about a lot of young drivers moving up from the Las Vegas Bullring into the National Series in NASCAR. We can put Kyle and Kurt Busch into that mix. Have you ever wanted to move up and have had the opportunity to move up to, say, the NASCAR K&N Pro Series West over the last couple of years?
No, never had the opportunity. Actually, Bodine cleared me to drive a truck back in 06 and 07, but that's when the economy took the hit. We had the smoking law passed here in Las Vegas, which killed our sponsors, which were local bars and casinos and stuff. So they had to take the money that they were going to allocate for me to go drive the truck to, into the business. So that kind of like killed my truck opportunity. But, that's just the way the economy is. And Las Vegas is up and down, and it's a fun town to be in, though, I'll tell you that.
It truly is, and we enjoy being there. And like we said, the truck race is always a great time. And, we get maybe one night. I know you go out there a couple of times, but we get one good night. Either to go to the Strip or stay. We stayed at the South Point, and that was our first time there, and that was a pretty interesting deal. I guess I want to ask you. Last year, I think when we had you on, a lot of beating and banging going on because the sponsor of the car was your boss, so you was kind of working during your lunch break or having the opportunity to talk to us at the same time. For you, you've talked about the economy, you've talked about different sponsorships. How are things looking for you and your team from a financial standpoint this year?
Pretty good. Like I said, David Wilson's Toyota Las Vegas. Scott Redden is the general manager. He'd actually insisted that I take time and come talk to you. So I'm sitting in the back room. So I gave me the time off. And, it's just a wonderful place to work for. Like I said, there's sub-sponsorship, and the rest of the time, just like any other short track guy, you do, side jobs or whatever it takes to get to the racetrack.
6 championships, I believe 61 official wins or recorded wins, the all-time winningest driver in Speedway history. Thank you for joining us here on NASCAR Coast to Coast, and best of luck to you on opening night this Saturday night at the Bullring in Las Vegas.
Good. Thank you guys for having me on again.
Scott Gafforini joining us, 6-time champion, looking for number 7 this weekend. And again, like I mentioned earlier, it's a bucket list item for me. We've gone by that racetrack, it seems like 100 times, and it's always just looks lonely out there at the end of the parking lot.
And I'll take it one step further. I've been on the other side of it. Before you get to the Bullring, there's a concrete karting facility there. It's a kart track. You kind of really can't see it. You got to go back into the parking lot. But, yeah, we had a Manufacturers Cup Series West race there years ago. And I'm looking over the Bullring saying, no, they're not running tonight.
Sitting there looking lonely.
Yeah, it's just every time I go there, the Bullring's never running.
Well, one day we're going to get out there, and it's going to be running, and it's going to be a great time. When we come back, we're going to preview the upcoming weekend of racing as a couple of more tracks opening up shop for 2016. We'll do that when we come back.
Coming back with more of NASCAR Coast to Coast, it's Kyle Rickey and Buddy Long right after this.
O'Reilly. If your vehicle isn't stopping like it used to, visit O'Reilly Auto Parts for the Spring Break Deals event. Take advantage of O'Reilly's Do It Right rebate and get a $20 O'Reilly gift card by mail when you buy a set of Brake Best Select pads and a pair of rotors. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better prices every day. Limits apply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Don't miss the first ever Country 500, the Great American Music Fest at Daytona International Speedway, Memorial Day weekend. Join Luke Bryan, Jason Aldean, Kid Rock, Lady Antebellum, Florida Georgia Line, Willie Nelson, and many more for 3 awesome days and nights of music, camping, and more on the infield of the World Center of Racing. Visit country500.com for more information.
For nearly 50 years, Housby has been a single-source provider of products and services around vocational and highway equipment to companies across America and around the world. We specialize in the ready-mix, waste, forestry, and highway industries. Housby offers new and used truck sales, auction services, transporting, concrete mixer manufacturing, and truck refurbishment. We provide solutions and integrity. For complete customer care, visit housby.com.
This is NASCAR Coast to Coast on MRN.com. Here's Kyle and Buddy.
The NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour opens up on April 9th and 10th at the Thompson Icebreaker, a healthy entry list for that division, but still unknown what one car and one team is going to do. RacedayCT.com reporting this week, Sean Corshane's website, the beat reporter up there, that the Mystic Missile, Bob Garbarino's team, who's been with that tour since its inception in 1985 and then a couple of decades before that, no driver, and right now no entry into the series for this season.
Yeah, I think they have a practice session scheduled for Thompson this weekend, and he's not going to be there. And Sean went on to say, Jimmy Blewett and Ted Christopher, two drivers, patiently waiting to see what he's going to do. They'd love to have that opportunity. Both would be cool to be in that car.
He's going to show up. I hope he's going to show up anyway, because he's there every year, every event. Todd Zegedy drove the car last year, finished 4th in the championship standings. This week, some tracks opening up. We talked about the Las Vegas Bullring. Their opening night this Saturday. Salinas High Bank Speedway in Pryor, Oklahoma. They're opening up this weekend as well, along with, I guess Take Two for Kingsport Speedway in Tennessee. They were rained out last week.
Salinas High Bank's back with their A and B mods. I think that was one of them that helped Thomas Tillison propel him so far up the NASCAR Whelen All-American food chain and do very well last year. So wishing him the best of luck this year. Congrats out to Trey Gibson. He had a very good weekend last weekend. He split 1 of 2 at the Greenville Pickens Speedway I think he took a victory, took both of them at Greenville Pickens, second at Anderson Motor Speedway. But a good weekend and a good start for that young driver.
Tucson Speedway in Arizona, they opened up their season. Dylan Jones held off Vanessa Robinson to claim the super late model win. Keith Lopez won the modified feature. Chris Cooper won in Pro Trucks. Those races could be seen live, and I watched them on fanschoice.tv. I think most of their season will be live on fanschoice.tv. They are back in action April 9th and will feature the Lucas Oil Modifieds and 4 weekly classes. Good to hear the announcer talk about the crowd and the growth of it over the last 2 or 3 years at Tucson, what averaged 400 to 500, 600 people.
Yeah.
Now they're about standing room only at I think like 4,500 or 4,000 at the racetrack this past weekend.
No, that's a good deal. Another track that always has a big crowd, and that's South Boston Speedway. They've had Austin Thaxton getting off to a great start this year. He had a pair of second-place runs to Matt Bowling a couple of weekends ago, picking up the victory in the 100-lap late model feature event over the weekend, beating Matt Bowling, as well as Mark Wirtz. Peyton Sellers, a former Whelen All-American champion, was 5th, and Lee Pulliam came home 7th in the event. Their next event coming up for the, I believe it's the second weekend in April. The NASCAR Whelen Southern Modified Tour will be there, and they'll have twin 75s for late models.
Still waiting for Lee to get to victory lane.
He will, and you know he will.
We're almost in April. Irwindale Speedway, they ran the NASCAR K&N Pro Series West, but also ran their local late model class. Nick Jonitis picked up the race win, holding off last year's champion Trevor Huddleston. 18 cars in the event. Ton Conrad won the spec late model feature on that evening. They're back in action on Saturday, April 2nd, and will feature all of their Whelen All-American divisions.
Myrtle Beach Speedway had the Spring Fling, which featured twin late model events. Matt Cox coming away with a win in race number 1 over Craig Stollard and Justin Milliken. It was Lucas Williams in the nightcap over Matt Cox and Adam Congrove. Tommy Lemons Jr., who won the big race earlier this year, did not start in race number 1. Had high hopes of the sweep. He finished 5th in race number 2.
And I think we've hit them all.
Pretty much.
South Carolina was the busy place,
yes,
as all 3 of their NASCAR Whelen All-American tracks were in action this past weekend. Another fun show. Can't wait to make the trip down to South Carolina this Saturday.
Looking forward to it. Greenville Pickens, K&N East.
It's going to be fun. Want to thank Edwin Pardue Spencer Davis, Scott Gafforini for joining us on the show. For Robbie Mays and Craig Moore, and my co-host, Buddy Long, I'm Kyle Rickey. We'll see you back here next Wednesday on the Motor Racing Network and NASCAR Coast to Coast.
This has been NASCAR Coast to Coast with MRN short track experts Kyle Rickey and Buddy Long. Tune in next Wednesday at noon at MRN.com for more talk from NASCAR home tracks and touring series. NASCAR Coast to Coast is also available on demand in the MRN.com Media Center or download from iTunes or Stitcher. NASCAR Coast to Coast is a production of the Motor Racing Network. All rights reserved.